like the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
It's Fantasy Friday on MRN.com as we welcome you into the first playoff edition of the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. He's Robbie Mays. I'm Tyler Burnett. Welcome to the 2018 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Robbie Mays. 2017. What the?
Playoffs?
I'm ready to go for next year. I think that's just I'm ready to end this year. No, I'm just kidding. Excited? What? What do you think?
I am optimistic. I am nervous. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that Martin Truex Jr. has a ton of playoffs. Points.
Don't talk about playoffs.
Exactly.
I've been waiting all year for this because we get to hear Jim Morris say playoffs about a million bajillion times over the next 10 races. You know, the regular season's over. I think we learned a lot of stuff. I think we learned that Martin Truex Jr. is for real. I think we learned that Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth are for real. I think we learned last year, don't count out Jimmy Johnson because he's still in this thing as well. Doesn't have as many playoff points as some of the other drivers do, but he is still a viable option.
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Wait, pump
for
the brakes
next 10
here.
races.
What has suddenly made you think Matt Kenseth is for real?
Because
what did he do?
The last 2 months, ever since they made the announcement that he is not coming back to the 20 car next year, he has been lights out. And if it wasn't for an Aaron ambulance just sitting on the racetrack on Saturday night, he was going to win the race.
No, he
at
wasn't.
Richmond.
No, he
pretty
was
good at
not.
Richmond. He was one of the best cars at Richmond.
There is no way he was going to win that race with Truex on the racetrack. He was one of the
best cars at Richmond on Saturday night. Watch him going forward.
He probably was one of the best cars, but I hardly think he was a second or third place car.
Well,
in my opinion, I think Martin Truex Jr. had the field covered. If it wasn't for an errant caution to end the race, I feel like he had the field covered and then some. And then Kenseth, look, he's fine. I mean, he's going to be good moving forward. I have in my notes here, I believe that Kenseth has slowly caught the speed that Truex and Kyle Busch has had, and I believe the other Toyotas have, like Danny Hamlin, Eric Jones. I think Eric Jones is better than Matt Kenseth right now.
Okay.
So you look at that, but Kenseth has won 0 races this year, and
Eric
all of a
Jones
sudden
has
you're
won
crowning
0
him as this guy who's for real now.
2011, Tony Stewart said he did not belong in the playoffs.
Playoffs?
And he won.
Goodness.
So.
Anyways, coming up on the show today, driver of the Lilly Diabetes Ford Fusion at Rouse Fenway Racing in the Xfinity Series, Ryan
Mustang.
Reed. What?
Mustang.
Oh, he'll drive a Fusion eventually, won't he?
Maybe.
Fusion's the
right
Cup
now it's
Series.
a Mustang, though.
The Mustang. Let me change that.
Yep.
Ryan Reed will join the program to talk fantasy racing, and we'll also get his thoughts about joining Motor Racing Network's coverage of the truck race, which is, when is that? Today?
Tonight.
Chicagoland 225 at 8 p.m. Eastern. So Ryan Reed will be on that. That will be great. We'll give you our locks for the weekend, even though we're already fighting about them. I'll try to avoid the rock again this week, and we'll play Sideswipe. That's all coming your way on this playoff edition of the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
O'Reilly. It's O'Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and check out store-wide savings, plus earn double points on over 250 items. It's our way of saying thank you. If you're not already a member, sign up today during O'Rewards Member Appreciation Month. It's fast, easy, and free. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's almost the most refreshing time of the day. Busch O'Clock, a time for relaxing and unwinding with friends and family over a crisp, cold Busch beer. Busch's roots are in racing, but whether you're enjoying the race or going fishing, nothing is better when it's time to relax with a crisp, cold Busch. It's Busch O'Clock, so grab a 6-pack of Busch beer for the cooler, start the grill, and relax. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Busch Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, Danica Patrick here. When I have friends and guests at the track who want to hear me drop pearls of wisdom during the race, I send them to Racing Electronics.
Yeah, right back there?
I think so. I didn't, other than hitting a car, I didn't hit anything, but there's a tire down or something.
If you aren't listening to all the action live, you're missing out. Don't forget to rent a scanner or fan vision for the races. Go to racingelectronics.com to pre-rent for great discounts on your scanner and fan vision rentals.
Like 'em or strike 'em, the inside line goes in for another side swipe. Here's Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
All right, let's play our favorite game of the week just because Under the Rock is just a reason for you guys to make fun of me.
Under Rock's still my favorite game of the week.
No. Sideswipe, one of the better ideas we've had when Robbie Mays was... How did it go, Robbie? How did we start this thing?
We were sitting in your garage having a few cold beverages.
Bush.
And I was on my phone playing one of those swiping games or dating games. And we had this idea for the Sideswipe. It's better than the emoji game.
Is it really a dating game? I mean, is it like a
I don't
game
know.
to find a girl? Or?
I don't know.
Well, anyways.
I will say this. I'm not having much luck with Sideswipe, the home game. So let's play Sideswipe, the real game.
All right, Robbie's first pick, Daryl.
Let's do Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Okay, so he's in the playoffs. We're going to a mile-and-a-half racetrack, and you would think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. probably would be one of the best drivers to take at a mile-and-a-half racetrack, simply because he gets around these places pretty well. He's not as good, obviously, as he does at the play tracks anymore, but only one finish better than 17th at Chicago. That was 8th in 2013. If Ricky Stenhouse Jr. can get to the second round of the playoffs, when we go to Talladega, he could be a legitimate threat to get to the round of 8, but I don't think he's going to be fast enough to beat some of the drivers that he's competing with. I'm going to swipe no this weekend on Ricky Stenhouse.
Yeah, the only way I start Stenhouse Sunday is if he starts somewhere around 30th, potentially.
Yeah.
Some passing points.
Yeah.
I think, and the problem is Stenhouse has been qualifying really well. So, when he qualifies 10th to 15th, I can't start him just because he's going to end up somewhere around there. So that's my reasoning. All right, my first pick.
Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick. All right. Kevin Harvick is interesting because of the Fords right now. Sadly, I think Harvick is probably the third best in the playoffs. And you're going to be surprised by this, Robbie Mays, but I think Kurt Busch is the best Ford heading into the playoffs right now. Which is, at the beginning of the year, I would have told you Kevin Harvick all day long. I would have told you Brad Keselowski. I would have told you Joey Logano all day long. But right now, Kurt Busch and Tony Gibson, his crew chief, have something going right now. So, they're consistent. They're running up front. They were good at the mile-and-a-half racetrack at Darlington. So I personally like Kurt Busch better this week than his teammate Kevin Harvick. So I'm going to swipe no on Kevin Harvick. And he's good at Chicago. So we'll see. I mean, I guess you look at Harvick's numbers. The problem is his last two races, 16th and 11th. Before that, he had a couple, 3 top 5s.
I agree with you about Kurt Busch being one of the best Fords right now. 3 straight top 5 finishes. Finished third in this race 2 years ago. So I agree with you about Kurt Busch, and I agree with you about Kevin Harvick.
All right.
What's next?
Matt Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth. Okay, so we were talking about this before the break. Matt Kenseth in the last 9 races has 6 top 10 finishes. At Chicagoland Speedway, he is very, very good. I like what this team is doing right now. Matt has a lot to prove, whether he's waiting for a new ride for next year or whether this is it for Matt Kenseth in the Cup Series. Finished top 10 in the last 4 races at Chicagoland Speedway. All 4 races he's run there with Joe Gibbs Racing. He won this race in 2013. I am definitely swiping right on Matt Kenseth this weekend.
I'm not telling you that I do not like Matt Kenseth. That is not what I'm telling you. What I told you in the first break was you were like, oh, Matt Kenseth is for real right now. He's for real. He's shown nothing to us that he's for real. He's won 0 races this year. Does winning races mean anything anymore? Because that's the only way you move on in the playoffs, right? So you think Matt Kenseth can win in the first round of the playoffs?
I think he can.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got 2 very good tracks at Chicago and New Hampshire this first round of the playoffs. So I think he can win one of these 2.
You think he can beat Truex? You think he can beat Kyle Busch? You think he can beat Denny Hamlin at Loudon?
Yep.
You think he can beat Kyle Larson at Chicago?
Look, stranger things have happened this year, okay?
All right. Yeah, I know. We saw him run into an ambulance last
Yeah.
week. Well, run into somebody who was checking up from an ambulance.
Yeah.
All right, my pick.
Ryan Newman.
Ryan Newman. This team's intriguing because they have been very consistent. What are we looking at here in the last 6 races? Top 10s.
Yeah.
For Ryan Newman, which is surprising. It's shocking to me, to be honest, just because they got the win at Phoenix. They kind of rode throughout the year. And then now all of a sudden Luke Lambert and Ryan Newman are making calls on the pit box that are potentially putting them in position to get top 10s, top 5s. We saw this in 2015, whatever year it was, where he wrecked Kyle Larson at Phoenix to get into the championship 4.
Mm-hmm.
This team can make it through the playoffs by consistently running in the top 10s and top 5s, and that's what they're doing in the last 6 weeks. If Ryan Newman last week was a great value pick, he started, somewhere around 25th, 26th. I mean, he did not qualify well, and he ran up towards the front. If he does not qualify well, I'll swipe right on Ryan Newman because they're consistent. If he qualifies well, which there's a good chance he might not, I'll swipe left. But I'll stick with Ryan Newman if he starts somewhere in the back.
I'm impressed that this team right now has got, 4 straight top 10 finishes, including the 3rd place at Richmond last week. Top 10 finishes in 4 of the last 6 races at Chicagoland Speedway. So I'm going to tentatively agree with you on Ryan Newman.
Well, he was good at Darlington, too. Austin
Sure.
Dillon and Ryan Newman were both great at Darlington. It seems like they have really good long-run cars. And we've seen, well, I guess last year we had a restart at the end of the race. But we have seen good long-run cars, matter at Chicago. I mean, Kenseth has won races there because he had a good long-run car.
Yeah.
So I think Ryan Newman potentially, if he has a good, long-run car again this week, could be a good shot.
Yep. Okay, what's next?
Eric Jones.
Eric Jones. Okay, so one of the hottest drivers over the last couple of months. Didn't make the playoffs. Said he had no pressure on him to make the playoff because he's a rookie and a rookie team. I'm going to swipe right on Eric Jones, and here's why. Over the years, we've seen drivers miss the playoffs just barely, go out and make a run in the playoffs. I'll use Kyle Larson as an example. A couple of years ago, he was doing great in the regular season, and we get down to the playoffs, and he just misses out. When we go to the playoffs, he has great runs. I think Eric Jones is a driver very capable of doing that, and I told Alex Hayden this on pit road last week at Richmond. Next year, I think Eric Jones in that 20 car is going to light him up on the racetrack, and I think the next 10 weeks, he's going to prove to everybody that he can, in fact, do that. I think he could possibly get a win over the next 10 races. I definitely think he's going to be a strong top 10, top 5 car. So I'm definitely swiping right on Eric Jones.
I agree with you, and I think Eric Jones, I mentioned it earlier, that I think Eric Jones is the 3rd best Toyota right now. I think Martin Truex Jr. in the 78 is the best Toyota on the racetrack. I think Kyle Busch is the 2nd best Toyota. I think Eric Jones is the 3rd best Toyota, and he's not even in the playoffs. So I agree with you. All right, my final pick.
Jamie McMurray.
Jamie Mack. All right. I don't think he's going to be as good as his teammate this week, Kyle Larson. Larson is great at mile-and-a-half racetracks this year. He's had 5 top 10s at mile-and-a-halfs. He has 4 of them were second-place finishes for Kyle Larson. So you look at that going into Chicago for Larson. Jamie Mack, I'm going to swipe no on Jamie Mack this week. He hasn't really run all that great at the mile-and-a-halfs this year. You look at his numbers at Chicago, he has 1 top 10 in the last 5 races at Chicago for Jamie Mack. I'm going to swipe no. I think he would be a better pick at Loudon, to be honest with you. That short track program is better, but the mile-and-a-half program is not there for the 1.
I absolutely agree with you.
All right.
And you know how that makes me crazy. So,
yeah. Must starts this week.
Must starts this week. Obviously, I think the 20 is a must start this week. Okay. I think Martin Truex Jr., you'd be dumb not to start him this week. I think you need to look at Kyle Busch as well this weekend. I think those 3 Toyotas are definitely those are the 3 cars that you need to have on your team.
I'll add a couple names to that. Brad Keselowski, very consistent at Chicago. I think, well, I guess consistent would be a word to describe his entire season. Recently they've been very consistent. His worst finish in the last 5 races at Chicago is 8th, and he has 2 wins during that time. If Brad Keselowski shows up fast off the truck today, Keselowski could potentially be a guy who could win this weekend. I think Kurt Busch, I mentioned it already with our sideswipe game. I think Kurt Busch has a chance to be a top 5 car this weekend. And Kyle Larson, I think, is nearing must start for me. Kyle Larson is very, very good at mile-and-a-half racetracks.
Okay, so we just talked about Kenseth with 6 top 10s in the last 9 races. Brad Keselowski has 5 straight races finishing outside of the top 10, and you take him over the 20.
Yes. Okay. Well, I take that back. They're close to me. They're close. I mean, Brad Keselowski's numbers at mile-and-a-half racetracks this year are not great. Towards the beginning of the year, they were very good because, he won at Atlanta, correct?
Yes.
Well, Harvick had the mistake on pit road. But, the beginning of the year, Brad Keselowski was great at mile-and-a-half racetracks. Here's what you have to worry about in the playoffs, so when you get to the playoffs. Who has been hiding something?
We don't know. I think that's part of the problem is you've had so many drivers inconsistent over the course of the year. I mean, the 2 was the best car at the beginning of the year, and ever since Charlotte, he struggled.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So,
all right, let's play our emojis. What do we got here? What's our first emoji? The emoji game. Strong. Muscle. All right. I think Truex. I think Truex is going to be super strong on Sunday. I think potentially he could lead every single lap if he wanted to.
Okay.
What about you?
I like that. I like the 78 on that.
All right. What about the second one? Oh, money. Little money sign. I hadn't even seen that emoji before.
I didn't know that emoji existed.
Who's going to be money for you on your fantasy team this week? I think Kyle Busch. I think he could get a consistent second, third place finish if he's behind Truex. He potentially could win this weekend. So I think Kyle Busch could be the moneymaker this week.
Let's say Eric Jones.
Eric Jones?
Eric Jones.
Eric Jones maybe goes to victory lane for the first time ever?
I'm not saying that, but he could be good for your team.
All right, there's our emojis. All right, our Ryan Reed is on the other side of the break. We'll talk to him about the truck race and, of course, some fantasy picks. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice, Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
You're smart, got your own trucking business, making it happen. What if I told you there was a place online where you could connect with other smart owner-operators just like you? It's an online community called Team Run Smart, where people share advice on truck maintenance, fuel savings, healthy habits on the road, and so much more, all to make your business more profitable. And it's all free. Visit TeamRunSmart.com today to check it out. You'll be glad you did. TeamRunSmart.com, brought to you by Freightliner Trucks.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
It's all a family sport.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
Brad Keselowski will win.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
We just have to find the value package that connects a new generation of fans.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network. Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Show. We've been expecting you. Here are your hosts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Thank you, hostess, for bringing us back. Practice coming up at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then we'll qualify at 6:30 p.m. Eastern tonight in Chicago. It's a big weekend in Chicago. We have, 3 races?
Triple.
The trucks.
Well,
the Xfinity Series.
There was
and the
ARCA
Cup
last
Series.
night, so I guess it's a quadruple.
Quadruple weekend. Yeah. And tonight, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series will be in the Chicagoland 225. And the driver of the Lilly Diabetes Ford Mustang at Roush Fenway Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, who will race tomorrow, is Ryan Reed. He will be on our broadcast tonight. Ryan, you looking forward to calling a race with MRN?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually a little bit nervous about it. I've never done any sort of broadcast or anything, so definitely gonna have to make sure I'm polished up and watch the ums in between sentences and stuff like that. So it's really cool and definitely a pretty cool opportunity. So I appreciate everyone letting me do it.
The good thing is you can look like slobs. Look at Robbie and I. Yeah, I guess we're on TV today, but you just have to have a face for radio, which is not hard. Obviously.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, do I get all suited up or just wear a T-shirt and jeans? So I think, I guess the apparel side of it isn't that important since radio.
You can wear whatever you want.
It might be hoodie weather, for all we know. Ryan, let's Chicago. It's a mile-and-a-half racetrack. It's a little bit different than the other mile-and-a-half racetracks that we go to. And you've competed at this racetrack before. You've had some success over the years. What makes Chicagoland different compared to, say, like a Vegas or a Kansas or some of the other mile-and-a-halves that we go to?
It's interesting. I feel like, honestly, it's not all that different. It races a lot different, but It's got decent banking. I'm surprised that there's not more similarities to a place like Vegas. I think that it's getting more worn out than Vegas, getting more characteristics, getting rougher. The backstretch is really unique. The way that it's not just straight. Obviously we see most of these racetracks are D-shaped, and the front stretch has curvature, but the backstretch there has a lot of curve as well in it. So it's a really interesting place. The first time I raced there and I got on the backstretch and I saw the kind of wall run away from you, it really surprised me. So I think that Chicago has definitely been one of my favorite mile and a half. It's a lot of fun to race at, and it's been really fun the last couple of years as it gets more worn out and we've been able to move up. They're bringing a new tire this weekend that's supposed to wear really quickly. So that's a pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing going on this weekend as well. I think that anytime we've been able to bring a tire that wears out more quickly, produces better racing, and you see more passing as cars wear out. You see cars that are good on the short run, and then cars that are able to benefit on the long run from focusing on a longer run setup.
So you're telling us that it's not all that different than the other mile and a half racetracks. So that way we can go for Martin Truex Jr., who has 7 top 10s this year on mile and a half racetracks and 4 wins. Kyle Larson, who has 4 second-place finishes at mile and a half racetracks this year. Are those guys we're looking at our fantasy team this week because they have been good at mile and a half racetracks this year, or do we look at the numbers in the past at Chicago?
Yeah, I think Martin's going to be really strong. I think Martin's absolutely got you've seen their mile and a half program be dominant this year, so I think Martin's going to be a guy that you definitely got to watch. And I think he's going to be the guy to beat again. I mentioned the place widens out, and I think you'll see cars moving up and stuff, but I still think that the guy that can make the bottom work will be the fastest. And as we've seen, people will start moving up, and Martin stays pinned right around the bottom, and he's be able to make it work and dominate these races. So he'll be really tough. I think that the Hendrick guys, I'm curious to see what they do start of the playoffs. So there'll be a lot of teams that I think that are going to come out firing, ready to go. I think that hopefully Ricky will come out. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased being in the Roush Fenway camp, but I'm hoping Roush. They've had a really strong mile and a half program, and it's been a while since we've been able to show that. So I'm expecting Ricky to come out ready to go as well.
Yeah, you mentioned the playoff aspect of this thing, and you have raced in somewhat of a playoff, a chase, I guess it was called then. You know the intensity of this deal. This is week 1 for the playoffs. How much does it change these guys' mindset on the racetrack? Are they, giving it as, more or as much as they have, or, how much will it change the intensity on the racetrack this weekend for these guys?
I think it changes a lot. I think that you see some of the teams that, I'm sure that all the teams have over the last couple of weeks have kind of geared up and started, getting in the playoff mindset. But I know from, where I was at last year, once the playoffs start, it's a whole different deal. I mean, there's no mistakes. The intensity ramps up. You're always 110% focused on the racetrack, but for some reason you're able to just find that little bit of extra. And it's kind of hard to put in words, honestly. The mentality that you bring to the racetrack in the playoffs. This is my first time ever being a part of any sort of playoff in motorsports, and I think it's probably one of the best things NASCAR's ever done, just because the intensity is so it's so crazy high. So I think that you'll just see teams that figure it out. I think that even you'll see some guys. I think you'll see more opportunities where teams just they throughout the race, even if they're not that great, they get better throughout the race and just figure it out by the end of the race, and they're competitors and contenders for a win at the end of the race. So I expect that you're gonna see a different type of racing that we saw throughout the summer now that the playoffs have started.
No doubt.
Ryan, you talked about Ricky Stenhouse. So obviously, that's the Ford driver that you're looking at this weekend. Another Ford driver who the last 3 races has really come on strong is Kurt Busch. Is Kurt Busch for real? Do you think he has a legitimate shot to not only win Sunday's race, but to go deep and make a playoff run this year?
Yeah, I think so. I think Kurt's got that intensity. I think that he's going to have as much of a desire, if not more, than others to win. So I think that Kurt probably feels like, especially given the last few weeks where he's got some momentum, that this is as good a shot as any over the last few years to go contend for a title. So I think him, Harvick, I think will be good. I know that that at times we haven't seen some of the speed that we saw of the Stewart-Haas cars maybe a year or two ago, but they're definitely going to be there. They're definitely going to be ready to go, come out contending for wins. So that was another one I kind of hadn't thought about. You mentioned Kurt Busch, but I think Kevin Harvick is going to be really good this week, and he's been really good at he's always really good at the low grip, kind of worn out surfaces. And Chicago is becoming more and more of that. Looking at places like Atlanta, that Harvick is just so good at. That I think that Chicago is getting more and more alike every day. I think that'll be something to watch.
Good insight. You will race tomorrow in the Chicagoland 300, and that's going to be fun to watch. What your chances? Obviously, since you came on our show this week, we have to root for you. So tomorrow, your chances to win that thing, man.
I'm hoping pretty high. We're ready to go. I think that this is it's not a playoff race for us. We're locked into the playoffs, so it's not a super high pressure race. But we put a lot of effort into it. We know that this is kind of our last. This is absolutely our last opportunity to just make sure that we're polished up, ready to go, that we have everything in order, that we have the fastest race cars we can possibly bring. We have every I dotted and T crossed going into this weekend, just so that way we go into the playoffs with as much momentum as possible. We kind of had a rough summer, a lot of just a lot of misses where we felt like we had mistakes, and we worked hard the last couple of weeks just kind of get the ship righted and have no mistake weekends and had okay finishes. And so this weekend we're looking to make sure we have no mistakes, but also get a really good finish. So it's going to be on paper it doesn't seem like a big one just because we are locked into the playoffs, but for us mentally and momentum-wise, it's a big race for us.
All right, real quick, who's your winner on Sunday?
Who's my winner on Sunday? You put me on the spot.
Well, Ricky Stenhouse, obviously. No. That's who you want to win, but who do you think is going to win?
I think, yes. If I have to, if Jack Roush is listening, I'm going to say Ricky Stenhouse. If he's not, I just think Martin's going to come out ready to go. I think Martin's going to win on Sunday. He's just so good. He's a mile and a half right now, and I haven't seen anybody that's even close. To have that to match his speed at mile and a half right now.
No question. Do you have a blue shirt that you can wear in the truck race tonight?
I think I do. I think I can dig something out.
All right. Thanks, Ryan, and we'll talk to you tonight. And look forward to calling the race. Hearing you call the race tonight.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Ryan Reed, everyone, joining us. That was really good to get some insight on the intensity of the playoffs, what that racetrack is like in Chicago, and of course, getting a little preview of the Truck Series race tonight. We'll come back. I'll potentially get hit by a rock. I might not. You never know. We'll do that next. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
O'Reilly.
Is your car not stopping like it used to? Restore that safe, secure feeling with help from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, when you buy Brake Best Select brake pads and rotors, you can earn up to 225 O-Rewards bonus points only during O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's almost Busch o'clock. A time for relaxing and unwinding with a crisp, cold Busch beer. It's the most refreshing time of the day. Wait for it. 3, 2, 1. Busch. Crisp, cold Busch. Enjoy responsibly. Busch Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
So what are your favorite drivers really thinking? We'll tell you each weekday on NASCAR Today, midday.
Getting married has been incredible. I wish I had figured all this out sooner.
Get the latest news from the sport and the opinions of NASCAR's biggest stars.
Changing over to Ford will open up some opportunities and possibilities and some just pure potential for the team.
That's NASCAR Today, midday. Weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. We're getting ready for Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series practice coming up at 12:30 today from the Chicagoland Speedway, and it's our favorite game of the week. Under a rock or Tyler?
You live your life up under a rock, or are you Tyler Burnett?
Okay, so this
Not
week's
many people have a name
this
in a
week's
song. You know that?
I'll get back to you on that. This week's is Chicago themed. It's a photograph, or it's a screenshot, I guess, from a movie. I need you to name the movie, and then either the actors in the thing here, or the characters that they played. So Daryl and Jennifer, let's cue it up. Let's play Under a Rock or Tyler. You should know this already. I need the name of the movie, which I think you should be able to get. If you're not, I'm going to slap you.
Man.
And I need the characters or the actors.
Is it? I mean, I'm just guessing. Is it The Godfather? Is that the correct movie?
No.
Oh, hold on.
No.
Was the actor on the left? Was that Chevy Chase?
No.
I have no idea who those people are.
All right, Jennifer, put it back up again. That is from the Blues Brothers.
The Blues Brothers,
which is Chicago themed.
I have
the easiest that we could possibly get you.
Never seen the Blues
Dan
Brothers.
Aykroyd, John Belushi, Jake and Elwood Blues. Their first appearance was on Saturday Night Live in 1978. The movie came out in 1980. Ringo.
I have never seen the Blues Brothers. Ever.
I'm gonna slap you.
I've heard the name John Belushi.
Just stop. Just stop talking. Just stop talking. Okay, you're done talking for the rest of the day. I'm gonna take it from here.
Okay. I'll sit in the corner.
Practice at 12:30, qualifying at 6:30, and the truck race tonight at 8 o'clock. Rango's picks: Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., Eric Jones, Matt DiBenedetto, Ryan Blaney. His winner is Truex. His manufacturer is Toyota.
Good team.
So we have two 78 picks. Who's your winner?
Well, probably the 78. No, if I guess just because I have to pick somebody else, I'll take the 18. Fine.
Okay.
All right. Who do you got?
I'm going 78. I'm gonna make it easy.
Wow, be original.
I'm gonna make it easy to make the graphics this week. 78 all the way.
All right. The truck race tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to watch, listen, watch, practice, whatever you want to do. 12:30 p.m. Eastern, MRN.com. You can hear practice. That'll be important. Also, the Chicagoland 300 and the Xfinity Series. We just heard Ryan Reed. He will race in that tomorrow afternoon. Sunday, it's the Tales of the Turtles 400.
Can you name the turtles?
Let's not get into that, please. 2 p.m. Eastern time for that race. What is it? Leonardo and Da Vinci and whatever.
Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo. Or the Rock.
I know they eat pizza.
Yeah.
Where are we going next week?
New Hampshire.
What's your final thoughts?
I'm looking forward to Chicago, and I'm looking forward to not having to sit next to him anymore today.
That's going to be great. Go Irish.
Go Gamecock.
That's right. That's all coming this way this weekend. Well, next week we're going where?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. And hopefully you listen to it on the Performance Racing Network. We'll be back next week to talk about it here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
You've been listening to the Inside Line presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MRN.com or the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.